Hey there, I'm Sue Simmons of Equinox Family Consulting. How are you? Happy Thursday evening. Hope you had a good Halloween. I am doing my Facebook Live early this evening. I usually do it at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday evenings, but I am busy later on, so I'm doing it a bit early. So welcome to episode 18 of To the Spectrum and Beyond. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about competence. And I'd like you to think about that word, competence. What does it mean to you? And what does it have to do with autism? Well, it actually has a great deal to do with autism. So when I think of the word competence, I think of having confidence in my abilities to do something well. Right? So if I am accustomed to going to work every day and doing the things that I normally do, I have a pretty good sense of my abilities and what I can do. And so in a job, I feel competent. So I'm happy to go and happy to show up. So how does this relate to autism? Okay, so let's think about parenting a child with autism. Many parents, and I know for myself, in my own experience, I did not feel competent as a parent to my son when he was quite a bit younger. His behavior was unpredictable, I couldn't understand it, and I really didn't know how to manage difficult behavior. So I felt incompetent, and that's a big, strong word, but that is how I felt. And I know many parents probably feel the same way because they don't know how to manage. So let's think about our child on the autism spectrum now. So we know, or if you've been following me, you know that our children with ASD have an atypical development, and they have processing challenges that make making sense, making meaning of things very challenging for them. So as a result, they have very strong feelings of fear and anxiety. And so for them, they also spend quite a bit of time feeling incompetent, which is precisely why our kids want to control, okay? And precisely why they will avoid situations where they're not able to control, because they have, unfortunately, way too many memories of feeling like they are failing or not measuring up, which really makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So it goes back to the point that I'm often making about behavior is communication, right? So if your child is having a meltdown at school, it's because he's overwhelmed and he's not able to cope. So these are human behaviors to the situation or the circumstances that the child is in. Make sense? Okay, good. So I want you to hear an example of something that one of the moms in my Lemons to Lemonade ASD Moms group shared recently, which was, I just loved hearing what she had to say. So her son had taught himself how to ride a bike. And he was so excited and he felt so good about this that he said to his mom, I'm never going to give up. I'm going to keep trying and trying until I master things. Now, he didn't use that language, of course, but so why did this all of a sudden show up for him? Why did he all of a sudden decide that he was not going to give up anymore? Any thoughts on that? Because as a result of learning to ride his bike, he felt competent. Okay, and competence is really addictive. So if you think about it, it's just typical human behavior. the more we try and stretch ourselves, the more we master things, the more competent we feel, and the more we are willing to stretch ourselves. So it is typical human behavior, and so is all of our ASD kids' behavior. So now I want you to think about your first day at a new job. Okay, so you're walking into the building for the first time. How do you feel? Do you feel competent? Probably not, because you don't know where things are. You don't know exactly what you're doing. You don't know where, even where your desk is. So you're feeling very hesitant and probably somewhat nervous, right? Which is totally normal for the first day on a job. But once you get the hang of it, and once you know the routine and you know the people and where things are and what you're doing, then you feel more competent. Make sense? So here's the thing about competence and our kids. Once we involve them in things at home and they feel a sense of competence, then they will be more willing to try new things. Now, sometimes this can be a bit of a struggle. I'm going to give you an idea of something that you can try with your child. That is something I coach new families that I'm working with to try. And this is called a giver-putter activity. Okay, so here's the way it goes. So let's say you have some folded socks that you need to put away. So you give the pair of socks to your child, and your child puts them either in a drawer or in a pile for each family member. Okay, so you're folding socks and you're passing the socks to your child, who then puts them either in a drawer or into a separate pile for each family member. Okay, so you give the socks, the child puts them in the pile. And this is something you can do that can take about 2 minutes. And if your child makes a mistake, you can simply point to the right pile. And when they get them correct, they're all in the right pile. Or even if they're not, who cares, right? You have invited your child to join you in something around the house, and you have allowed your child to feel competent. Your child had a genuine role in that activity. So the more that we can involve our children in things that we do at home, routine things, the more competent they will feel and the more willing they will be to try new things. So I hope this has been helpful for you, and please like and please share, and I will see you next Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, the usual time, and thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.